Okay, so the next project we're going to do is a very simple kitchen apron. I'm using this terribly wonderful fabric because I have it and it's obnoxious and I love it. So to do from a waist down, to measure it on yourself, you hold it up to your waist and then go down however long you want it to be. I want mine to be about knee length, and then add a couple of inches at the bottom for hems, and you make a little mark. It's that simple. Now to find out how wide it needs to be, you hold it up and you measure the width, how wide you want it to be around your thighs, because the waist will be gathered. So you hold it up about how wide you want it out here, and again you add a little bit because it's going to be hemmed, so that's going to be folded underneath. Then you go around to the other side and make a mark. Mine is actually going to end up right on that fold there, so I'm just going to make a mark on the fold. Pause.
Go.
Once you have these two marks down, you take a straight edge. This is just a quilter's measure and your tailor's chalk or whatever, pencil, pen, whatever you have that you're using. You just make a straight line, like so. And then because I'm using a really awkwardly shaped cardboard box as my hard surface, because I don't have any other hard surfaces here, I have to move the fabric around a little bit. You just kind of make a rectangle shape. And that is the main body of your apron. Now what I'm going to do for the waistband strap is I'm actually going to go down to the opposite end of the fabric. I'm going to fold it in half so that it's easier to mark. And I want approximately a 1-inch waistband to be tied. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 2.5 inches. It's 2.5 inches down the length of, well, I should make sure this is squared up first. So do your straight line to make sure that's squared up, and you'll cut along that. And then from here, I'll mark out 2.5 inches. That gives it, when you fold it over, it'll be 1 1/4 inches, and then the 1/4 inch is your seam allowance. And I'm actually going to do this twice, so I will have 2 pieces the entire width of the fabric, so that there will be plenty of length left to tie everything in place. And then when you cut through, you're going to cut both thicknesses of the fabric at the same time, so you'll have 2 strips. There are a couple of different ways to prepare your project for putting a hem in or doing it around the edges. First thing I'm doing is I'm actually pressing it flat because I didn't do that before I marked and cut it. This is for the apron project that will be coming out in a few weeks. This is the main part of the apron. It's just from the waist down, a little kitchen apron. It was cut in a single layer because you only need one layer of fabric for it. I'm going to show you a few ways to do hemming. Now what I like to do, and this is just me personally, is I do my thumb measurements, because of course I do thumb measurements. And this white bit on the edge, that's the selvage edge, is approximately the width of my thumb. So to prepare for putting a hem or an edge on, I'm going to fold back the width of my thumb, and I'm actually going to press that down all the way down the edge of the fabric. Now I'm using steam, so I'm trying not to let the iron get too close to my thumb because it will burn the bejeebus out of me, and I don't want to do that. That's no fun. But simply pressing it down like so, and give it a couple of seconds to cool. Once it's cooled down just a little bit, you see how that's holding really well. It's just folding right back. Come back and fold the edge to where that folds under, and then press it again, but just catch the edge of it. Do not go over where that first pressed line was, or it'll just iron it flat. Once you do this, it'll just fold over again, and that's where your hemline will be. That's still very warm. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the opposite side, and this is always folding towards the wrong side of the fabric. You can tell this is the right side, it's brightly colored, this is the wrong side, so this is going towards the wrong side of the fabric. But before I do the long edge, I'm actually going to take this corner and fold it down approximately the width of my thumb to make a little triangle there. If this is done right, it'll be the width of my thumb this way and also the width of my thumb that way. And then I'll start at the top and do that same process, width of the thumb all the way down. Now, they do make special rulers for this that don't hold the heat of the iron and can stand up to the heat of the iron, and you can actually just fold the fabric over the ruler itself, and it makes it perfectly even instead of, this is not going to be perfectly even at all. I think. It's fabric. It can be worked with. I'm just going over it again because I redid this little corner. There we go. Now another way to do this instead of ironing it down is to roll it, which is basically doing the same thing, except for instead of fold and then fold again, it's fold and then pin it in place across, which works perfectly well. And as you can see, I'm just kind of folding and rolling as I go. It takes a little bit more practice, but it's still coming up with that nice straight edge and nice even across there. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this out and pin it down and show you what that looks like. I've gone ahead and pinned this edge down. Now this is the corner where we pressed the triangle in, and then I did it again and actually tucked it underneath, and then doing that just makes, once it's all stitched down, will make a nice, very neat corner. And I rolled this hem across, and then on this side, instead of doing the triangle, I simply folded underneath the first edge that we pressed into the where the hem was going to be set, and I actually just rolled that in like so and pinned it there. Both are perfectly acceptable. This one ends up just being a tiny bit sloppier, but it's a whole lot easier to do when you're actually in there and stitching it together. Once you've got the pieces for your apron cut out, the next step is to roll up the hems on the bottom of the apron and the two sides and stitch them in place. When you come to the end of the thread, come up and you stitch just around the folded part, not through the front piece, but the folded part 2 or 3 times. Put the needle through those stitches. It's going to be tight, and it should be. Pull it tight, and then go in, a couple of threads over, go in, around to the other side, and a couple of threads over and in. Take it underneath that top layer of fabric. Make sure you do not go through to the front side, so you can't see the needle at all on the front side. Pull it through and then pull it so that the fabric itself puckers a little bit, so there's a little bit of extra give there. And then when you clip the thread next to the fabric, the ends of the thread disappear inside.